Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, thanks for tuning in. Today I will be giving a Venice, Florida single-family homes real estate market update through October of 2025. I was going to do this a little sooner and close out for September, but it is now November the 2nd and we have the October sales data in. I'm Robin Vakai, the broker owner of Beach Bay Real Estate and a certified financial planner for 25 years. You're watching Suncoast South, a channel I created to share the real story of the Venice housing market, neighborhoods, communities, things you need to know about the cost of home ownership here, and what it's really like to live in the Venice area. Now, let's get into the updated market data for single family homes in Venice. Condos will be in another video. There's just too much data to cover it all. Okay, so sales volume. How many homes are actually selling? And I'll be putting up a chart so you can see this. But when I look at the historic monthly sales trend, back in October of 2021, there were 170 closings that month. In October of 22, closings dropped to 100 for the month due to low inventory. And you remember that was the peak of the pandemic crazy buying season. In October 23 and 24, those months had exactly the same at 131 sales per month. And guess what? In October of 2025, there were 162 single-family home closings, so that was an increase of 24% from the previous year. In 7 out of 10 months of sales data in 2025, sales of Venice single-family homes were outpacing the year before, showing upward momentum in sales. So the 2025 year-to-date data, so January through October, we've had 1,632 closings. For that same period last year, January through October of 2024, we had 1,491 closings. So that's, plus 9% more single family homes this year to date compared to last year to date. So in Venice, sales volume for single family homes is increased. Buyers have not disappeared, but they are being more selective and more price sensitive than they were during the pandemic. Now let's move over to active inventory. Inventory in October 2025, this is again, single family homes, all sizes, all price points, right? There's nothing broken out here. So single family homes listed for sale in Venice, 753 homes listed for sale. You can see in the chart that comparing that to October 2021, during a period of very low inventory, there were only 166 homes active for sale. So that's a big difference. Between 2015 and 2020, the average inventory was 255 homes. So that's really pre the pandemic run-up. So if 255 we'll call as a baseline, we now have 3 times that at 753. Despite that, as I just demonstrated, sales have upticked for the year so far. They're higher than they were last year. Now, I spoke about this in another video, the last market update video, but it remains to be seen how many of the ghost or shadow inventory listings come back on the market. Those are the ones that I refer to as the quitters, and those were the people throughout the previous 12 months, probably, August, and then going back one year. I pulled 12 months of data. There was a lot of inventory that quit the market. I didn't do that for this video. I think those people are still hiding out on the sidelines. And like I said, if only half of those people come back on the market, we will see a surge of inventory again in January. Now, whether they get absorbed by sales remains to be seen. But right now, sales are outpacing the last 2 years. Inventory still well above normal. Buyers have options. Sellers are competing, and I say not just against each other in the resale market, but specifically against new construction in Welland Park and throughout South Sarasota County, which, as you know, if you've listened in before, that's my market area. So I'm talking about from Nokomis, basically south, and then east out to Welland Park and Northport. So that's the area that I pretty much cover. So pricing trends, historic median sales price trend from 2020 to 2025, and I will show you the chart. The peak and median sale prices for single family homes in Venice actually didn't happen until April of 24. So a little later, even though we saw, prices start to inch down. And again, remember that the median is the midpoint of the homes that sold in that particular month. So it can vary widely from month to month, depending on, what price point really sold. Prices trended upward beginning in early 2021 and continued through early 2023. The pandemic housing surge was the driver. Since April of 2024, prices have begun to trend downward for the most part, a normalization as inventory has increased and buyers have once again had more options. So in other words, I think the market has finding its balance. Certainly not falling apart. It's not a crash here in Venice like, we may be seeing in other areas. Since then, though, since April of 24, we've seen gradual price normalization. And I think you can see that in some of these numbers. So October 25, the median sale price is around $445,000, which is lower than the peak, but still far above pre-pandemic pricing levels. And now here's something else that really ties into where the market is. So original list price to sold price report. The median sold price is consistently below the original list price. And as a percentage of list price, the homes sold in 2021, they sold at almost 98% of original list. The following year, they sold at about 95% of original list price. 23 went down further at about 91%. 24 bumped back up to 95% of original list. And this year to date in 2025, even though sales have trended up, remember that, they've sold for 92% of original list price. And original list price, just keep in mind, doesn't necessarily mean the last sales price that, the last list price that shows. So you have to kind of go back in the data to see. But those calculations there, 92% of original list is when the property was first listed for sale. So single family homes trends report in Venice is showing us that the bulk of the 2025 Venice single family home sales are happening in the 400,000 to 500,000 price range. These figures are in thousands, so 400 to 500 is showing you 400,000 to 500,000. Sales in the 500 to 600,000 range, price range, were 210 and are more than, interestingly, the 350 to 400,000 price range where only 181 units sold. You'll see sales volume begins to slow above 600,000 and then increases again, starts to increase above 1 million. Those sales are, of course, slower. Smaller number of sales, I mean. Now, months of inventory. So again, October 2025, we have around 760 active listings. There have been 160 sales for the month, which works out to about 4.75 months of inventory. And generally speaking, less than 5 months of inventory leans towards a seller's market. 5 to 7 signals more neutral, and above 7 months of inventory would signal a solid buyer's market. So what this means to you if you're relocating, retiring, or planning on buying a second home here in Venice, the market is still somewhat favorable to buyers. You do have some time to look. You don't have to feel rushed like people were doing during the pandemic. You can compare communities, HOAs, CDD fees, and particular lot preferences. You'll have room to negotiate, especially on homes that have been sitting on the market. And that's going to be a huge benefit. So for home buyers, the biggest mistakes they can make right now is focusing only on list price and not on ongoing carrying costs. Failing to look at the selling price per square foot by neighborhood and not just zip code, because believe me when I tell you the prices vary, not just between each zip code, but certainly by neighborhood. And I mean, they could even be a half a mile apart and the selling prices are very different. Failing to understand that a builder getting rid of inventory, and I use the term unloading it, during the summer months, which we've seen a little bit of because homes are sitting, they're completed spec or inventory homes, and then they sell for a seemingly really low price. That's because that was a great summertime deal. Our busy selling season is almost upon us, and it's opposite the rest of the country. Everybody else is looking spring selling season. Not to say that we don't do a lot of sales during the springtime, but we have a drop off during the summer, and then we have a big pickup in sales basically during season, our winter season, when people are here. So just because you saw a deal of a feature home or a spec home that sold for a seemingly low price very recently, July, August, September, of completed homes sitting on the market, the builders will not offer that same deal on a to-be-built home, meaning where you pick your lot, the model, and options. So the only way you're going to get one of those deals is hope that you're eyeballing the community and the home size that you want. You happen to be sitting there with cash in hand and or, mortgage approval ready to go. You see that spec home hit the market and you swoop in and buy it and negotiate a better deal. But as we head into season, I think those are going to be fewer and farther between. So what does this market mean for home sellers? Homes that sell today have two things in common. And again, I'm talking strictly Venice market. They are priced where buyers are actually transacting, not where the neighbors sold their house during the spike. They're prepared well for showing and selling, clean, decluttered, lightly refreshed, possibly staged, professionally photographed, and repainted if necessary in the interior. And remember that you're competing with new builds as a home seller. The homes that are not selling are priced based on hope, wishful thinking, and not sales data. And they're probably relying on sales figures from 2 years ago and are ignoring the huge competition from new builds where incentives are making deals happen. So I can tell you it's a pretty safe bet if you go back in the sales history and you see a house on the market and it's sitting on the market for a long time, and that property sold, unfortunately, during that peak that I talked about between, early 2021 and early 2023 for the most part. And then somebody put it on the market at a significantly higher number than that, trying to recoup their costs. It's sitting on the market and they're not going to sell it. And that's the reality. So key takeaways from this: sales in the Venice market of single family homes year to date this year versus 2024, they're up 9%. Inventory is elevated. We've got 760 or so active listings, giving buyers more choice. Prices have normalized from the 2024 peak. I'd say stabilized, but certainly not a market crash. Most sales are occurring in the Venice market in the 400 to 500K range, 400 to 500,000. Months of inventory currently is 4.75, leaning towards seller, but far more balanced than pandemic conditions. And preparation and realistic pricing are what are driving homes to sell. And of course, location plays into it. So if you're planning a move to Venice, or you want someone to help you find the right home at the right price, or if you're selling a home here and you need help with accurate pricing, staging, and marketing, please reach out to me or visit my website at suncoastsouth.com. Again, I'm Robin Vakai, the broker owner of Beach Bay Real Estate here in Venice, Florida, and a certified financial planner for 25 years. You've been watching Suncoast South, a channel I created to get accurate, relevant, and important information out there. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more upcoming videos on the Venice market, the Home Buyers Education Series, and also the Home Sellers Education Series. So I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching, and bye for now. I'll see you in the next video.